Chairman Powell, good afternoon. We had some technical difficulties with the sound in the large conference room, so we had to move the meeting to another conference room. And so those who joined us earlier are going to have to rejoin. So Barbara and Christy, I'll send a note to Dr. Pallas, but I think there were some others as well. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Nathan.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Pallas is on the Zoom.
Okay, he was able to rejoin?
It appears so.
Okay. Everyone, we appreciate you joining us today. I'm sorry we had some technical difficulties in our large conference room, so our sound wasn't working, so we had to change the conference room. But Dr. Pallas, good afternoon. Apologize for those technical difficulties.
Well, since we're using more and more
bet I'm not muted. Since we're using more and more electronics, it seems like they're getting more and more use, and sometimes things don't work the way we'd like them to. But we're glad that we're able to get everybody together. And I see 3 o'clock. So at this time, I'd like to call the October meeting of the Mountain Area Workforce Development Board to order. And I want to welcome our board members and our guests and our speakers, as well as any visitors we might have. And at this time, I'm going to ask that the roll be called.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sissy Rogers.
Here.
Brian Dover. Peter
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Michael Horvath. Corey Hackney. Dr. Palace.
Here.
Steve Newman.
Present, sir.
Tara McCracken. Krista Flores. Sam Hutchins. Daniel Hine. Beth McCann.
Here.
Tony Carter. Graham Fields. Dr. Will Hoffman.
Here.
Jonathan Suggs. Christopher McGlasson. Rick Sluter.
Here.
Trudy Logan.
Here.
Eric Watts. Eric Watts. Robin Paulson. Dr. Mara Leatherwood. I
Scott
think Dr.
Queen.
Scott Queen
Here.
is representing Dr. Leatherwood today. Dr. John Gossett. Ross Young. Lisa Chapman Deal. Tony Reed. Samantha Cole.
Here.
Rodney Embler.
Here.
And Dr. Brian Weaver.
Here.
Zia, I don't know if you were able to count with me as I was calling the roll. I don't think we quite have a quorum, but
I
we'll
think
see.
people are still joining, Nathan. So I think if we delay the consent agenda till the end of the meeting, we should be good. Or perhaps after the first presentation. The participant list, every time somebody joins, it moves around. But I do want to give a shout out to our planner, Julia McKenzie.
Julia,
She's
would you
on
like to
Zoom.
say anything? Julia, Ms. McKenzie, would you like to say anything? For y'all, for those who may not know, Ms. McKenzie serves as our planner with the North Carolina Department of Commerce. So she acts as our liaison and support for so many things that we do, and we're really grateful for all her support and leadership on our behalf. We work with her and the team at the Division of Workforce Solutions very carefully. So she may not be able to hear or maybe occupied with something else. But Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. So we will postpone the consent agenda vote until after we hear Samantha Cole's presentation on the West North Carolina Career Expo. Samantha.
Hey everyone. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, great. I guess, Melissa, should I go ahead and share my screen?
I think
Samantha,
Nathan's going to share that.
Okay.
Samantha, we had to join from another computer.
Mhm.
So I'm going to have to get Christina because it's saying my screen sharing is disabled.
Okay. No
Sorry,
problem.
Samantha.
No problem.
Samantha, if you could introduce yourself and maybe start talking, and we will, Christina's in the midst of this enabling screen sharing.
Certainly. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Samantha Cole. I serve as the Workforce Partnership Manager at the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Coalition for Asheville-Buncombe County. I also am happily a member of this board, and I'm excited to be here today for a normal meeting, and also to share with you guys a little bit about kind of recent outcomes and key takeaways from the Western North Carolina Career Expo. And now that I've introduced myself, I think we're actually ready to advance to the next slide. Perfect. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the planning and the delivery and the outcomes. And of course, that's going to start with what our promotional strategy was for this event. We held the Western North Carolina Career Expo 2 weeks ago today at the Western North Carolina Ag Center, specifically the Davis Event Center. And we were really kind of trying to be creative about how we sought attention and sought participation from prospective job seekers. So in the late summer, we developed a promotional strategy for the event that was kind of split into these 3 parts, which are earned media, paid ads, and stakeholder engagement. Of course, earned media being news clips to help generate organic interest among folks. Paid ads that were strategically placed in areas like TV and streaming services like Roku, social media platforms, and print publications, as well as, of course, stakeholder engagement, which is basically just leveraging partnerships and relationships to promote through word of mouth. And I can dive a little bit more deeply into each of these 3 buckets. Yeah, so to earn media, we issued 3 press releases to boost the message that the Expo is the ideal opportunity to return to career after pandemic-related loss or departure from employment. Because, you know, there are a lot of folks who just haven't gotten back to work yet. There are people still dealing with all manner of challenges, childcare, K-12, you name it, in-person learning, that kind of thing. So we were really trying to make sure people understood this is a place to explore a career if you're considering coming back. So our first release announced the event. Our second one followed shortly thereafter to sort of share an update on employer registrations and to tease out which employers were going to be participating. And then, of course, we provided a final update in the third release about employer registration data and gave details on what sort of on-site services we would have in place for job seekers to take advantage of. And to plump up each one of these, we used information that we mined from the employer registration form, which asks employers to share a number of really important details, including but not limited to if they were hiring for at least one job paying $18 or more per hour, if they were interviewing or hiring on the spot, if they offered various shifts or remote work options or options like apprenticeships, and if they were interested in hearing from workers who have previous justice involvement. And this strategy yielded local articles and TV clips in WLOS leading up to the event, as well as live coverage on the day of the event. And we can head to the next slide. So this year for paid advertising, we tried spreading the coverage around a few more different mediums. So of course, we continued the WLOS ads on a plan to reach 3/4 of Western North Carolina adults ages 18 and up, an average of more than 4 times each. And this ultimately netted more than 359,000 unique impressions. We ran that same 30-second TV commercial on streaming services like Apple TV and HBO Now as well. So people could kind of see it even if they had cut the cord on cable. And that netted about 58,000 more impressions. Then through paid social media posts, we achieved more than 197,000 impressions and an additional 5,500 plus organic impressions. So that's just someone who's perusing their Facebook feed or whatever have you and just come across it organically. And then more than 8,200 views on the Western North Carolina Career Expo website. For radio, our ads through iHeartMedia yielded more than 117,000 impressions. And finally, for print, we ran 3 ads in Mountain Express print editions, and also 1 bilingual Valpak ad that ran the month prior to help appeal to folks as they're actually thinking about personal finance in real time. So we just sort of tested that out. Next slide. For stakeholder engagement, I can't minimize this at all. We definitely used internal resources like the Chamber's weekly newsletter to help get the word out, and that included 4 highlights about the Career Expo to 7,300 subscribers 4 times. We also leveraged partnerships with organizations like this Workforce Board, NC Works, Land of Sky, other organizations in the workforce development space, as well as, of course, each registered employer to help encourage job seeker participation. Next slide, please. And considering that our goal is really to bring out job seekers during this period of heavy and sustained economic challenges due to the pandemic, we really wanted to make sure that there were resources on site to support people who are considering making a return to work and make it as easy for them as possible. So we recruited a bunch of volunteers who were really, really glad to have had participate in that event with us. We can't thank them enough. And together they are, you know, local HR professionals who offered one-on-one resume reviews. They are people in healthcare delivery who offered a mobile vaccine clinic delivering the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine on site for anyone who hadn't already had the opportunity to take that, knowing that, you know, probably pretty shortly here, vaccination status could be coming up as folks consider re-entering the workforce or applying for employment. So we wanted to make sure folks had the opportunity to get that taken care of on site if they were ready. As well as assistance with a child care search or child care subsidy applications, if that was a barrier for folks considering re-entering the workforce. Ultimately, we had kind of few takers on those services, but we do plan to continue lining them up for future expos and advertising the availability of those things widely. And then for Jobseeker Experience, like I was saying before, we really wanted to make sure that the barrier of entry for job seekers was as low as possible, and that we were doing everything that we could to provide that. So we worked to make the event easy to navigate. That's not necessarily easy to do when you have 112 employers at an event that is both indoors and outdoors, but to try to suss that out, we created this map. We also color coded it so that anyone who showed up as a job seeker could take a map and immediately indicate where they could find employers who were paying $18 or more an hour for at least one role, where they could find employers who are hiring for various shifts if their household or caregiving needs are going to be an inhibiting factor for them being, you know, in a traditional first shift situation and they need to find something different. People who were willing to talk with folks who have former justice involvement, or people who are hiring for apprenticeships, that kind of thing. So our hope was that this would optimize connections between job seekers and employers and really help those contacts become a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, less window browsing and more kind of deep conversations that went into employment related questions. And anecdotally, it seems that that did bear out. So we're happy about that. We also made the event indoor outdoor, as I mentioned before, to improve safety as much as we possibly could. And we made sure that face coverings were required at all times. Thank you. So here's how we did. Here's our report card. We fortunately had more than 24 incredibly helpful volunteers. Huge thanks to folks on this board and NC Works and other organizations who showed up to participate and really make the lift that day. We cannot thank you enough. We had 112 employers in various high demand industries like manufacturing and healthcare and hospitality that intend to hire for a combined total of more than 5,600 jobs within the next year combined. And we also counted about 323 total job seekers in attendance. Next slide, please. And here's our report card from the employers. So just after the expo wrapped, we sent out a survey and encouraged employers to weigh in on what their experience participating in the expo was like this time around. We got 46 total responses from employers at the time that I put this deck together. And out of those, 93% of participating employers said that they had received leads or resumes from job seekers. 52% said that they had collected 10 or more leads or resumes. 56 participants in that, or 56 interviews had taken place on site as a result of the Career Expo among those 46 respondents. And then there were also 16 job offers made as a result of the Career Expo. among those 46 folks who responded to our survey. Next slide, please. And of course, there's plenty of room for improvement in these numbers, which is what we're going to continue working toward in future expos. 56% of participating employers in that survey rated a 4 or a 5 on the question about whether the Career Expo was a valuable use of their time. 43% said that it helped them collect strong leads, and 56% said that it was worth the cost of attending. And next slide. I really don't want to minimize the fact that there has been progress made here. Job seeker attendance at the Fall Career Expo represented a more than 200% increase versus the Spring 2021 Career Expo. That one had been held sort of before many people had a chance to be vaccinated or find childcare again, or send their kids back to in-person learning. So it makes sense that we saw an increase in the fall, but of course we really would have liked to have seen more. And on the last slide, I can walk you through the takeaways. Yeah, so job seeker attendance is still much lower than it was pre-pandemic, but our job seeker participation is up from spring 2021, and we don't want to minimize that. And finally, this is not news, but employers are still having a hard time hiring, and we hope that these events can continue to be a resource for folks who are looking for workers moving forward, as well for job seekers who are ready to reconnect with career. And with that, I can open it up for any questions you all have.
Thank you, Samantha. Does anybody have any questions for her?
Samantha, this is Beth McCann. I'm a board member from Wilson Art. And just out of curiosity, what do you think brought in your highest rate of return from an advertising standpoint?
That's a really good question. For me, I'm still kind of learning about the measurement. I think there were a tremendous number of impressions through TV. And I would like to find a way to be able to measure that in real time, like some form of survey for job seekers who are in attendance. Where did you learn about us? That kind of thing, so that we can measure that more closely in the future. I think that that right now, a goal, and this is something that I think a couple of us are going to continue talking about moving forward, is going to be to try to figure out how we can creatively spread those resources around and really continue to meet people where they are. So if you're a person who doesn't frequently or routinely tune into WLOS, we'll still find you somewhere else, whether it's online or through the AVL Today newsletter or some other product like that. So I think we did very well. I think that a lot of the digital media purchases also did very well. And of course, you can't beat press. So all of that together.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Of
so
course.
much. Thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Samantha, I have a question. So I know that the booths were $250 a piece. A lot of people, employers provided their own tents, but you had a reasonable rental cost for tents. Was this a break-even job fair? Was there any revenue, or did we not do so well financially?
I think so. I can double check into the revenues piece. I know we have a couple of outstanding invoices and get back to you about that. I want to say that it was close to break even, but I don't want to represent the numbers either.
Anything else for Samantha?
I would
Just
like to
wanna
add
provide-
that I think March 22nd has been set for the next expo. Is that correct, Samantha?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that we are putting together a planning committee to discuss strategies and modifications to reach a greater audience.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank Samantha and her team for doing a great job organizing this event. And just thank the board. This is a significant investment by the board in supporting WNC Career Expo. You know, our attendance certainly wasn't what it was pre-pandemic, but it is improving. And You know, we always want more job seekers to show up, but as everyone knows right now is just a really tough slog in that standpoint. And so I think we are making progress, but we would love to hear any input from board members and our partners on how we can be more effective, because, you know, we got, as Samantha mentioned, 5,000 jobs or so available just from the employers that participated. And we've got to do a better job of connecting so many individuals in our community that need better opportunities with those jobs. But, and also give a shout out to our workforce staff, led by Barbara and all of our NC Works team. They were wonderful. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Nathan. Are we in a position to go to the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we have 14 board members in attendance. We are one short of quorum, so I suggest we handle the consent agenda in particular. The Goodwill request for a budget amendment to increase their WEX hours for participants through the end of the program year through executive committee action later this week.
I'm okay with that. Does anybody have any objection?
And Zia, Danny Hine did indicate that he was probably going to join, but it was going to be late. But you do
Well,
notice
if we
that
can
Danny.
wait, it's up to you, Nathan and Dr. Palace.
Okay, well, I would say if Danny is able to join, that would get us to a quorum. So we're just one short.
All right, well, why don't we postpone that? We'll wait a little bit longer before we move it to an executive committee then. Let's see. Dr. Drakeford, are you available? Are you on now?
Yes. How you doing?
Oh, all right. Well, give me just a minute then. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Derrick Drakeford. Dr. Drakeford and I had an interesting conversation several weeks ago, at which he was talking about one of the things that his organization does. Dr. Drakeford has received 2 National Science Foundation grants, and it does quite a bit in the area of assisting youth and new job seekers to figure out what they're best at, what their passion is, and how they can apply that towards their futures. So at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Derrick Drakeford.
Thank you, Dr. Palace. I also want to thank Melissa Wright for helping to organize us and get us here today. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. My name is Derrick Drakeford. I'm a North Carolina native. I was born in Durham, North Carolina. I attended UNC Chapel Hill for my master's in public administration. And then I went back and got a PhD in education. I now run a research firm called Drakeford, Scott & Associates in the RTP area. And my research really goes back to when I was on the unemployment line. I had received my master's from Carolina. I got a job at Communities and Schools of Wake County, and then 9/11 happened. And you remember when 9/11 happened, especially in the nonprofit community, I was on the unemployment line. I was unemployed. and thank you, Melissa. I know I got 15 minutes, so I'm gonna move really quickly.
You're fine, Dr. Drakeford. Thank you for coming.
I want us all to be thinking, because our research is really focused on the mindset of the unemployed worker. What is going on in their mind? And what our research is finding now, 70% of current college students want to start their own business. 70% of the future workforce wants to start their own business. So, I believe part of the reason that 5,000 jobs are available in Asheville is because they don't fit people's purpose in life. So what our research does is we help people to hone in on their purpose in life and then help them to build a business around that purpose. We've helped students start a business in 65 minutes. So I want to ask you all two questions. First, if you can type in the chat, what do you believe is the #1 challenge to employment seekers in Asheville? If you put that in surrounding areas, you can put that in the chat. I really need your feedback as a researcher.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, what's the #1 challenge for job seekers in your professional opinion? Transportation, daycare, wages, vision. I like that one. Making enough money, enough pay, finding work that's meaningful. We're gonna come back to that. Wow. Amanda, I hope you're writing this stuff, that flexibility, meaningful work, cost of living, scheduling, flexibility is huge. Thank you, Amanda. And Mr. Ramsey, if you can give Amanda screen sharing, she's gonna share a quick presentation. And thank you so much, Beth, Scott, Chapman, thank you. Question #2 that I want you to put in the chat. Pardon?
I was just going to ask, Amanda, you should be able to share your screen now. We've enabled screen sharing. Can you share your screen?
Yes, thank you so much, Nathan. I am just about to share.
The second thing that I want you to put in the chat is I want you to write your own purpose in life in one sentence and start that sentence with your name. Write down your purpose in life in one sentence and start that sentence with your name. And we're going to take about 2 or 3 minutes. Type in your purpose in life in one sentence. What are you here for? You know, y'all are some beautiful people over there in Asheville. You look good, you dress well. What's your purpose in life? You got this beautiful skin, veins, bones all wrapped up together, and life beats in your heart. What is your purpose in life? Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Miss Sharon. It's a complicated question. Beth, give me your best shot. Scott's purpose in life is to empower individuals to improve their lives through education. Scott Queen, you the one. That's what we're talking about. Great job. All right, 60 seconds. Write down your purpose in life in one sentence. Come on now, Ivory, I like it.
Oh, damn.
Nathan, I like it. Thank you. You better represent God, Ivory. I appreciate you. Electrical trades. Christopher, thank you for your service. Thank you for your work. All right, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold on to that sentence. That's going to be our alpha data. And then I'm going to ask you 4 questions. And then we're going to ask you that question again. And it's going to be our beta data. All right. You ready for question number 1? Thank you, Barbara. Ms.
Question
Barbara.
number one. I want you to take your sheet of paper and draw a box. Separate that box into 4 quadrants. In the top left quadrant, you're going to write the word people. And then put a bullet and answer this question. Who are the people, or what's the community closest to your heart? So outside of your family, because I know you love your family, there's one group or one cause that calls to your heart. Sometimes when you try to go to sleep at night, you can see this group suffering. You care about everybody, but if you could put a bullseye around your heart, there's something about this one group in need that's closer to you than any other group. For me, it's African American males who are lost. For some people, it's kids who are sick, seniors who are lonely, single mothers. What's your group and what do they specifically lack? And specifically,
All right, put that in the chat.
Write it down. That's the answer to question number 1.
What is your group and what do they specifically lack or specifically need? Get as narrow as possible. Mr. Ramsey, if I gave you $100,000, you can only help one group. What is that group and what do they lack or need? Put it in the chat. Tony, thank you for that. Individuals with disabilities. Mark, elderly, homeless, very specific. Great job. People with students helping find direction. Scott, we need to talk, Scott. I like you, man. School-aged children who haven't found direction and purpose. Thank you, Scott. Those with substance use disorders. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Single parents, childcare, education. Now, we're going to move on to question number 2, but I also want you to be thinking, did I list that group in my alpha sentence, my purpose in life? But let's move on to question number 2.
Question number 2. I want you to go to your sheet of paper and I want you to write the word pain. Pain. This is a tough question. What's the greatest pain, the deepest pain you've ever gone through in life? So painful, it changed the way that you looked at the world forever. The world was never the same after you went through this pain. Let me tell you about mine. I grew up in Carrboro, North Carolina. My dad was the first African-American mayor of Carrboro. My mom, one of the first 1,000 graduates from UNC Chapel Hill, successful nurse at Duke Hospital, both alpha personalities. You know, you get 2 alphas together, it's not always gonna work out. It's gonna be some furniture moving. So my parents got divorced. Here I was as a kid, not knowing to be on my dad's side, not knowing to be on my mom's side, not knowing if the divorce was my fault. I was lost. And my greatest pain is being a lost African-American male. And we've been doing this research now for about 10 years. We spoke to over 10,000 individuals, and what we found out is when you're honest with yourself about the pain that you've gone through, it directly relates to this community that you just mentioned. And what our research is finding is that our purpose in life, like a flower, is birth. That's question.
All right, we had a little glitch at the end. I said our purpose in life, like a flower, is birthed out of our pain. Now, we're not going to have you answer this one in the chat, but I just want you to be answering yes or no. Do you see a connection between the pain that you've gone through and the community that you mentioned in question number 1? 95% of our participants say yes. And somewhere in that is our purpose in life. Our purpose is birthed out of our pain. The pain, Justin, it almost gives you a PhD in helping those people. You know, I can't help people with substance abuse with the passion and vigor that Nathan can, because that's connected to his purpose. All right, let's go to question number 3.
Question 3. Listen, question 2 was tough. Even thinking about it, it changes the atmosphere. It brings our spirit down. It makes us go to that dark place. Question 3 is going to bring you out of that. And for some of us who are still stuck in that place, question 3 will help you to figure out how to get out of that. For question 3, I want you to draw an arrow, a diagonal arrow, out of the pain box up to the top right quadrant. And then on the arrow, I want you to write the word peace. Peace. And here, I want you to answer this question. What's my peace process? What is the process that I've got to go through to heal? Is it therapy? Is it prayer? Is it nature? Is it reading? Is it writing poetry? Is it writing books? Is it writing rhymes? What do I have to do to let go of that pain? And what we found out is that if you don't have anything in the peace line, right? If you don't have anything here that helps you to process out of pain, then you end up stuck in pain. And the truth is, the people in our lives that are just mean, nasty, evil, and cantankerous, you know the ones I'm talking about. Those people are really good people that went through pain just like you and I, and they haven't processed out of that pain. So because they haven't processed out of it, they take it out on you. So I want you to be thinking, am I one of those people, right? And I also want you to be thinking, how do I heal and let
All right, thank you for that,
go of
Amanda.
this pain?
So question number 3 is really your secret weapon, right? The reason that Mr. Ramsey don't come in and cuss y'all out is because he's got a peace process, right? He's got a process to heal from the pain he's gone through in life. And it becomes your secret weapon. And a lot of our job seekers are stuck in pain. And just that question will help them move out of pain. So here's question number 4.
All right, here's the last question. The top right quadrant, I want you to write the word passion / talent. This is your gift. I have students look at their thumbprint. Yeah, go ahead. I see you on camera. You look at your thumbprint deeper, deeper. Do you see the swirls? I know you're like, Dr. Drakeford, I know what my thumbprint look. No, look at it for a second. Billions of people in the world, no one has your thumbprint. Billions of people in the world, no one is as unique as you. And as unique as your thumbprint, there's a gift and a talent and a passion that you have that you can do better than anyone in the world. You can do it so good that you can build a business around it, build a nonprofit around it, build a ministry around it, because no one in the world is like you with your swagger, with your uniqueness. So here, write down what it is. For me, mine's communication. Listen, I teach, I write, I love it. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm working right now. It seems like I'm just having fun, but this is my calling. This is my gift. And when you're doing your gift, it's enjoyable. And you're the best in the world at it. Once you write it down and you put it here, right? Mine's communication. Then you put an equal sign here, and then you write the word purpose. On the next video, we're going to give you the equation to use all these tools to find your purpose in 15 minutes. Tune in.
Put this in the chat. This one we can share publicly. What is your gift? Nathan, what's your gift, man? I can't do what you do. I can put on the black jacket. I can put on the mask. I can sit behind the desk. I can't be Nathan. I can't run this meeting. What is your gift? Put it in the chat. You're truly gifted and talented. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Rick, for your empathy. Barbara, you've been helping me throughout this whole meeting with your facial expressions. I can't tell you thank you enough. You know, this guy Mark just staring at me over here. But Barbara, you've been giving me some love, and I appreciate you. All right, so now that is your talent, that's your gift. Nobody can do it like you. Now, what's the equation? Go ahead, Amanda. Thank you.
Now, you take those 4 questions and you put them together into this equation. This equation will help you to find your purpose in 15 minutes. Here it is. Purpose equals people plus passion divided by pain. Here's how you read it. We use our passion, our gift, to help these people alleviate or prevent this pain that we identify with. And that's our purpose in life. And here at Purpose University, we're going to build a business or nonprofit around this purpose that you have deep in your heart to give you a platform to go do it. We want you to do it. Listen, the next course is going to be PUR 502. We're going to walk you through the 5 steps of starting your business. Let's get in business today. Let's do it.
Amanda, if you could share the blue equation for the sentence creation. So if you see in that research that we've just shown you, you see why there's 5,000 jobs available. Because the jobs don't fit the gifts and the people and the passion all together. Write down that equation. That's the equation that we use to help students find their purpose. If you scroll down, Amanda, we'll look at the beta sentence. So you remember you wrote down a sentence at the beginning of this exercise, right? That sentence, most likely, with the exception of Scott, I believe, was a very general sentence. When we ask somebody what their purpose is, they normally say a very general sentence. I want to serve God. I want to help all people. I want to love people. I want to help people do this, right? But it's hard to hit that with an arrow, to hit it with a dart. But when you include, hey, I want to help people with substance abuse. I want to use this specific skill to help people with substance abuse. Now it gets more narrow, actionable. So I want you to write this beta sentence. Write your name, uses your gift to help those people. Really, the vision of success is the opposite of the pains, the vision that you have for those people. And I want one volunteer to share their alpha sentence and their beta sentence and just talk about how it's more clear. And I'm done. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Drakeford. Do we have any volunteers willing to share?
Come on, everyone, let's not be bashful. Dr. Drakeford, that was a wonderful presentation. I was really motivated by it.
We need one volunteer, and then we're going to move on. One person to volunteer that beta sentence.
Looks like Beth McCann had volunteered. Not calling you out. Sorry.
I did not, but if no one else is going to go, I'm happy to, because that was very motivational. Thank you so much. So I would say Beth uses the talent of helping people. No, uses my passion is encouraging people to achieve their let's see,
You're doing great.
their unknown potential in life.
And what was your people group? Question number one.
My people group, question number one was that my desire is just to bless people.
Right, but when we put that box, people, the group you want to help.
My people. So I had two groups. So my first group was my employees, because I don't ever stop thinking about work. And my second group were teenagers. So I teach youth in my church. So you're on mute.
Thank you so much. So what we then do with students is we have them write a sentence like this, Beth uses her passion to help these people, right? And then you put a parentheses around Beth. Put a parentheses around Beth or your name.
Okay.
And you remember PEMDAS, you could take something out of the parentheses, put something in the parentheses.
Yeah.
I want you to put in the name of your coaching business.
Okay, so Dr. Drakeford, I just want you to know it's because of you that we can't find any employees, because you're encouraging them to go start their own businesses. So we need to work a little bit closer here together.
So here's what's going to happen. My dad told me this. He was the first Black car bro. He said, it's hard to find a job when you don't have a job.
Right.
He said jobs are kind of like lily pads. A frog with a lily pad. It's easy to jump from one to another, but it's hard to jump out of the water onto a lily pad. So what we do by creating a business, we don't mean that you can never work for anyone, but we're creating a lily pad to make it easier for you to get to another lily pad. So you're not at home in your jogging pants all day. You're actually working on your purpose, and that's attractive to employers. So listen, I thank you so much. We're on your side, Beth. We're going to get employees.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. And thank you for recovering and explaining the lily pad, because that absolutely makes sense.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions or comments for Dr. Drakeford? I have one. Dr. Drakeford, what age group, how young a group do you start this with?
Great question. High school, we currently have a contract with Rockingham County Schools, where their 500 students are going through this app. So what you just saw was our mobile app. We charge $15 for students to go through it. So high school is really the age when we begin thinking about paying and how paying connects to helping people. High school and above.
Dr. Drakeford, what colleges or where was the area that you polled the students that you got that 70% metric from?
So that is actually a recent academic study during COVID. So it came out this year, and what it's finding is that largely because of COVID, people don't want to work for you. They want to work for themselves at home.
I think that's a very accurate number, and especially for my own personal children and also those that I speak with.
Dr. Derrick. Hey, this is Mark, the digital dude. I've downloaded the Purpose University app onto my iPhone. Can you share with us some best practices? I'm at the opening screen with the dark purple. It says live coaching, book an hour, live executive coaching consultation, just the general best practice in using the app and where it works or doesn't work.
So we always have students start off with the activity that you just went through, and that's going to be in self-paced courses, and it's going to be PUR 501, Finding Your Purpose in 15 Minutes. Then we have them take PUR 502, which runs them through 5 steps. I don't know if y'all knew it was free to start a business. I didn't know that. But the 5 steps are finding your purpose. You've already done that. Creating a website. Websites are free now, by the way. 3, getting an EIN. EINs are free, by the way. Number 4, starting a bank account, business bank account for your sole proprietor. Bank accounts are free, by the way. And then number 5 is developing a business canvas. So in our 502 course, we walk the student through starting a business in 1 day.
Thank you, Dr. Drakeford. I think that the group really enjoyed this. And again, we appreciate everything that you're doing. And you and I will be in touch again.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. Listen, as a former person who was unemployed, I just want to tell you all, I love you. Because what you are doing changed my life. And it's changing the life for someone else. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have our 15 board members?
We do, Dr. Palace. We have a quorum.
Okay, well then at this point, I'd like to jump back to the second item on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Has 4 items on it. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review this information. Is there anybody that would want to have anything removed from this consent agenda? Hearing none, I'm going to ask, I believe we need a roll call in order to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I will begin the roll call. I do want to give Barbara a shout out for her work with the Business Accelerator grants and all the members of the board who were willing to serve on the review committee. And that's on page 19 of your packet. And just want to thank you all for making that possible. So I will begin the roll call. Sissy Rogers.
Even though I'm brand new, I can still vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I approve.
Brian Dover.
Approve.
Peter Cook.
Approve.
Michael Horvath. Corey Hackney.
Approve.
Steve Newman.
Approve.
Karen McCracken. Krista Flores. Sam Hutchins. Daniel Hine. Dr. Palace.
Approve.
Beth McCann.
Approve.
Tony Carter. Graham Fields. Dr. Will Hoffman.
Approve.
Jonathan Sukes. Chris McGlashan.
Approve.
Rick Slater.
Approve.
Pretty Logan.
Approve.
Eric Watts. Robin Paulson. Robin Paulson. Dr. Laura Leatherwood.
Approve.
Dr. John Gossett. Ross Young. Lisa Chapman Deal.
Approve.
Tony Reed.
Approve.
Samantha Cole. Samantha Cole.
Approve.
Rodney Embler.
Approved.
And Dr. Brian Weaver.
Approved.
That concludes the roll call, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nathan. Before we continue, I would just like to let the board know that because this meeting is being recorded, if you want to go back and review what Dr. Drakeford has done, or if you wanted to share that with others, you'll be able to do that off of the Zoom recording. At this time, I believe that we're moving to our CTE presentation.
I think we have Taylor Baldwin. We have several of our CTE directors with us. Taylor, do you want to begin, or will someone else begin?
I can go ahead and start. And thank you, guys. We really do appreciate you guys give us some time to just kind of present what we do and what we ask of you guys as well. I sent that link. This is actually a Google slideshow, but can I have access to share that?
Can you see that, Taylor?
That's perfect right there. And I'm Taylor Baldwin, the Bun County Schools Career Technical Education Director. And I was going to go ahead and let the rest of the directors that are in the room introduce themselves as well. So Jimmy, you're up with Madison County.
Jimmy Huey, Madison County Schools. Thank you so much for allowing us the time to be here.
I believe Transylvania County was next. All right.
Taylor, I don't know if Missy Ellenberg with Transylvania County was able to join us. I think Scott Moore and Dr. Cheeks with Asheville City Schools are here.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Scott Moore. I'm the CTE director in Henderson County Public Schools. Like these guys said, I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about what's going on in our CTE world with you guys.
Hi, I'm Ivory Cheeks, Asheville City School, the new CTE director as well. Looking forward to just sharing some highlights and showcasing what we do here.
Okay, and Nathan, if you'll go to the next slide there. So one of the things I want to start with is why do we need an advisory board? And this great advisory board too, you guys are part of our stakeholder team that is required for us, but it's kind of a one-stop shop with the Workforce Development Board. We get the parent piece to this as well as the community college piece. This is a very good fit, especially for all the surrounding counties. And again, we thank you guys for working with us for this many years. And Nathan, how many years has this been? We've been part of this.
Well, I think it's been 3 or 4 since we've been to your advisory board through updated Perkins requirement, as I recall, Taylor.
Okay, and it has worked great. Nathan, if you go to the next slide there. So what we seek from the board, and the big piece to this that makes everything come together, is the labor market alignment. We are required now to do a comprehensive local needs assessment. And I know I can speak for myself. I know most people in this directors group, we do utilize a lot of the labor data that you guys produce from the Workforce Development Board. And again, those labor market data, that guides us in our decisions we make as far as our program implementations. Next slide. The other big thing we do is once we've guided ourselves towards what programs we're going to offer and programs we keep, or maybe programs we need to look at changing, is the size, the scope, and the quantity of that. Are we meeting that labor market? Are we meeting the workforce? Are we meeting the gap that's here in our surrounding area? Another thing that we look at is, are we progressing for our career pathways? And again, we work on our career pathways, and we've come up with a bunch over the past couple of years. Perkins 5 has really changed the way that we've done our pathways. The federal government came out and required 2 CTE courses to be taken in order to be a concentration. And then the state of North Carolina, I think now we're at 112 pathways, I believe. So North Carolina took that and created our own pathways under different career clusters for us to follow. Next slide there. So what we do is we provide the career awareness piece. And I know multiple people on this board right here have either attended or helped out with something that surrounding counties and us have put on. The career awareness piece is a very big role for us. CTSOs or student organizations. Those are your FFA, your FCCLA, woodworking. We've got Skills USA and TSA. I know I've probably forgotten a couple there too, but I would bet that most likely about half of this board probably had done one of those when they were in high school. So we do support our CTSOs very heavily. Industry credentials is another big push. And it seems like now that's a definite going to be here for a long time, but we definitely look at our credentials and critique kind of what we need to be offering through our courses and do they align with what's around us. Course preparing students for the workforce, and we align with post-secondary paths, which is the reason we have community college members on this as well. So, you know, in a perfect world, we love to give you guys a perfect student right out of high school that can work for your companies and work in that industry. But we've just had COVID hit. So, yeah, I think our reality is that we've got a lot of work to do to recover, especially from our career side after coming out of COVID. But one of the things I wanted to do, I didn't want to end on that note. We've got some good news that's coming from different districts here. And we just recently put on a Careers on Wheels event for our 5th grade and 6th graders. We had 660 students attend. We had over 40 businesses there. And basically it was any business that involves a vehicle in it. They were out there at AB Tech's parking lot, and thank you AB Tech for allowing us to use your campus there. But it put a smile on everybody's face to see the kids out there, especially going through COVID. But I wanted to share that with you guys that we're getting back into the rhythm of doing some more career awareness with the kids. I'm going to open up the floor too, if any of the directors are online wanted to share anything about what they're doing in their system.
Taylor, I'll go ahead and go next. In Madison County, just share with you very quickly the programs that we offer. We offer a program in agriculture education, business and marketing, which includes Python programming, construction trades, which includes architectural drafting, carpentry and masonry. We have culinary, foods and nutrition, early childhood education, engineering drafting, health science, mechatronics, and metals manufacturing. One piece of new technology that we just recently purchased is a state-of-the-art anatomage table. This technology allows several of our programs, including health science, agriculture, or early childhood, and even our science program to access medical and vet school grade labs and experiences. In a nutshell, the anatomage table is an advanced anatomy visualization system. It contains a virtual library of human and animal cadavers, as well as a clinical diagnostic tool by visualization of any medical CT, CBTC, or MRI scan. And so the table has the capacity to turn virtually any classroom into a virtual operating room where a student can make surgical cuts, perform virtual dissections, and it includes preloaded medical conditions, and classroom teacher can design a complete lesson plan around the possibilities of this table. So very, very nice and very useful piece of technology that we've been able to recently implement at Madison County Schools in our CTE program. Also, we're looking at some new programming for next school year, for the 22-23 school year. We'd like to expand our construction program. As Taylor mentioned, a lot of the job market, labor market data that comes from the Workforce Development Board is very valuable to us, and we use it in many ways, but one way that we use it is to look at new programming, or look at the need for existing programming. And in doing that over the last year or so, we've identified a need to expand our construction trades program. We currently have, as I mentioned, carpentry, architectural drafting, and masonry. We'd like to add, and we plan to add, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Because the local job market is in very much need of employees in all of these areas. And we'll be doing this expansion with partnership of local industry. And it'll benefit the community, we believe, not only by providing employment skills and employment opportunities for these students and graduates, but also affordable housing, because a part of our plan is to build houses with these programs, and our goal is to produce at least one house every couple of years. And then that will, the funds from that will go back into the program and help expand the program. And we believe that will also assist our local employers in providing additional employees in those areas. So real quickly, in a nutshell, that's what's going on at Madison County.
All right, if you guys are all right, I'll jump in with what's happening in Henderson County. Thank you, Jimmy. That was great. I'd like to talk to you about that table.
All right.
In Henderson County, and I'm a fairly new director myself, about 7 months on the job, which is not really long enough to learn the job if you are not coming from a CTE background, but I'm in the process of learning the job. And when I came on, the wheels were in motion to do something through our CTE program that is really incredible and is really going to benefit our county, in my estimation. And that is, we have taken part in a state pilot of teaching as a profession. And so in short, we're offering college level classes, or classes that articulate to college credit, to our juniors and seniors in high school. And I've been able to do that. We were able to do it with one CTE teacher. Well, our school board put that together with looking at our teaching staff as a whole, and realized that maybe one isn't enough. Maybe we need this offered in every one of our traditional high schools. And so they ponied up another position. So we've got 2 positions among our 4 traditional high schools where we're teaching this teaching as a profession. Kind of a unique angle for Henderson County is we've got also an education foundation. And part of our goal with this teaching as a profession course is to grow our own teachers from within, and hopefully over the long term, help our teaching staff more match the demographics of our population, which it doesn't right now. The Ed Foundation has already stepped up in a huge way and has begun collecting some scholarship money in order to create kind of a miniature teaching fellows program, where our Ed Foundation hopes to provide scholarship money to some of these students with the agreement that they come back to teach in Henderson County. So we are incredibly excited about this, and it's really, really going well. Kind of got a late start due to my start in March, but we have students, we have teachers who are just on fire about it, and we're watching the excitement build around that. Another area we've expanded a little bit this year is in our drone technology. Last year we taught a drone technology class at one of our high schools and in our virtual public school. This year we've expanded that from North Henderson, where it was last year, also to Hendersonville High School, which is obviously a really cool path for kids. Very relevant, very much right now, and there's a lot of demand for these classes. So we're excited to watch that kind of play out over the next couple of years. Just full disclosure, I am a silver linings dude. I am looking for the silver linings in everything. And if there has been a silver lining of COVID, it is that we are in a place now where we have employers coming to us saying, how can we help to connect your kids to our jobs? And so it's allowing us to really expand our work-based learning opportunities. And so that is a big focus of ours this year, to expand our internships, expand our job shadows, and ultimately expand the apprenticeships that we're allowed to, that our kids are allowed to take advantage of through Blue Ridge. And we just learned just in the last day or so that we have, to Jimmy's point earlier, we have a new electrical apprenticeship that is being added as of this year. So we'll be able to do that. We literally have employers calling us up and saying, what can we do to connect with the people who could be our employees down the road? We're continuing to foster our partnerships with Blue Ridge Community College, which is a huge advocate, a huge partner of ours. Got a Wingate Early Scholars Program where students, this is a good example of one of those employers connecting to us, providing kind of a win-win. So Wingate runs a program through our high schools where kids who are identified as interested in a medical profession, potentially pharmacy or potentially a physician's assistant program, about 6 sessions a year, they go over to Wingate, to the Wingate campus here in Hendersonville, and listen to presentations from their professors and the professionals in the field. And Pardee Hospital has also recently reached out because, as you probably all know, there's a huge shortage of nursing staff. And so they're trying to identify the kids in our health sciences program who may ultimately, be ready to move on up to Pardee and go to work there. So that's an exciting thing. Taylor mentioned the career discussions with the fifth and sixth grade, Taylor? With the 5th and 6th grade, and we are attempting also to push down into earlier ages. Right now, the main way that we're doing that is through our virtual job shadow, which is a computer-based program that allows just an incredible amount of exploration of different career paths. It also allows us to really look at the analytics on what kids are looking at, and allows us to really adjust our programming to target those kids' needs. Looking forward, one of the big things we're looking at right now is to possibly expand our agriculture programs into the middle schools in a couple of areas specifically. We've got Mills River and then the Edneyville area, both of which are hugely involved in agriculture. Our students are driving past lots and lots of jobs in agribusiness on the way to school every day, but the middle schoolers don't have an agricultural outlet. So we're looking at expanding those programs into the middle school. And then through the state, and this might be something I end up reaching out to some of the folks on this board about, there's a summer career accelerator grant. And we're looking at trying to identify those kids who are good kids, flying under the radar, meeting minimum standards, but we want to set them on fire for some career path. I tend to believe that is the thing that holds us back is, kids meet the minimum standards, but they're not connected to a bigger dream, a bigger purpose, as Dr. Drakeford was talking about earlier. And so therefore they're just meeting the minimums and moving along. So through the Summer Career Accelerator, we hope to connect some kids with some really viable opportunities and move them forward. I think that's about the thumbnail scratch of our programming in Henderson County. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen.
And Ivory, I think, you had a presentation you were going to show too?
I do, yes. Okay. I think Melissa, you have that?
Nathan, I believe you've got Christina sharing that.
Yeah, okay, I do. I apologize.
Okay.
Hold on one moment.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm slow on the draw.
No, you're good. Why are you getting that set up? I'll get us started. And as I stated earlier, just really excited about the opportunity. One, just being the new CTE director, it's like a full circle for me. I started off as a FACS teacher, so now to be back in the CTE world, it's just been really exciting. I've been very fortunate and blessed to work with such great folks and individuals. We have a total of 25 teachers in our department. We're one of the largest departments in Asheville City Schools. And then I'm very blessed with my leadership team, which is on here today with me. I'll start off with, I refer to him as my cousin, Cody. He's our CIMC and Special Pop. And then also Justin is on here. The only person who couldn't join us today is Mike. He's at a conference, but I'll highlight some of the things that he's doing. And we can go to the next slide. And you just see the breakdown at the various schools. We have 2 middle schools and 2 high schools. And Cody's going to talk to you about like the number of students like enrolled in CTE programs. So Cody, you're up next, and you can go to the next slide.
Dr. Cheeks, Cody's computer has died. So if you don't mind, you want me to talk about that?
Okay, and we can do it together.
Okay, perfect. So in the 2021-22 school year, 1,637 students will take a CTE course within Asheville City Schools. There's a 98.6% graduation rate for CTE concentrators and 237 credentials earned last year. We had 743 students involved in the trade, technology, engineering, and design pathway with 81 concentrators.
And the only thing I want to add to this slide, which I was very pleased and impressed by, we have a total of, when you're looking at the middle, like 6 through 12, 2,059 students. So when you're looking at that number of 1,637, we have like 80% of our students signing up for CTE courses. We can go to the next slide. And you've heard that from some of the other directors of like the different courses that we're often at, the 2 middle schools. One of the things, and you go to the next slide, one of the things I really want to highlight is that, it's been stated that we're really looking at like career awareness. Mike has done a fantastic job of bringing in guest speakers and he's doing the reality check and he's doing the virtual job shadow with the kids too, to expose them to opportunities. And we just kind of talked about that. One of the things I do want to add, not only is that Mike is working with the CTE teachers, but he's also going into like the social studies classes. I know that he's worked with some of the science teachers. So just broaden that and just getting exposure. One of the things that we've talked about doing for next semester is planning a virtual CTE open house. We do think it's very important that we let our community know what we're doing, especially within our district. We can go to the next slide. Okay, and we talked about the reality check, so we can go to the next one. And the next one. And this is just talking about some of our credentials that some of our students you saw on that very first slide that they've been able to earn. So these are our credentials that we are offering at the high school. And then our various pathways.
And so, Dr. Cheeks, we offer a lot of work-based learning opportunities, which a lot of everyone else pretty much offers as well. But right now we have 26 students enrolled in our work-based learning. I'm fairly new to the position here at the high school, so we're able to build that up this fall, late summer, early fall. We've got our students placed in elementary schools, law offices, marketing firms, digital design companies, doctors' offices, local planning departments, restaurants, and a local organic farm as well. And it's something that we're always looking to expand and grow upon. So if having an intern involved with anybody that anybody knows within this meeting, please let me know, contact me, because it's great to get our students out in the workforce, understanding kind of what is expected of them. We offer pre-apprenticeship with our culinary students. And then we've worked with Asheville Fire Department to set up some job shadowing opportunities for our students at various firehouses throughout the city of Asheville.
Okay, and you go to the next slide for us.
And some of the clubs and student organizations we have on campus here at Asheville High School, Young Professionals of Asheville Be Ready program is a mentorship program set up with the Young Professionals of Asheville and our students here on Asheville at Asheville High School, where they will be working directly with our students, mentoring them and helping them transition from high school to the workforce, to college, and what comes next for our students. We've got Girls Who Code. It's a club here on campus with computer coding. We've got robotics. We have cosmetology. The Future Business Leaders of America and HOSA are just a couple of CTSOs that we offer here on campus as well.
And then one of the things that Justin and Mike, they're working on is a newsletter. We're gonna put that together within the next couple of weeks. You should be able to see that. Like I said, we really want to showcase and highlight what we're doing. So, stay tuned. You'll find out more information about us. But that's pretty much what we want to share with you concerning, Asheville City Schools. Didn't know if you had questions for us at this point. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is that everything from the CTE directors?
I think so.
All right. Well, we appreciate everything that goes on. From my background in community and technical college systems, everything that can be done in the high schools to help students find their way and get into the trades and into the different technical areas is certainly appreciated. At this time, we'll hear about our different committee presentations, business services.
Barbara, do you want to give an update there?
Do you want me to do it? I'm on, Barbara. You're on mute.
Okay.
Yes, Peter has a report from the Business Services and Sector Career Pathways meeting. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, good. So we met last month, and really because we've been changing things up. Anyways, what we've been working on is trying to kind of refine our purpose. And we've got 3 goals that have been kind of established for the committee: to support the workforce centers, to support business services outreach, and to support the development, approval, and implementation of career pathways. So we got an update on where the current IT career pathway is. And then we discussed a few ideas about what we can do to support both the workforce centers and kind of expand what business outreach is doing, and try and make local business businesses more aware of the services offered by both the workforce center and the business services. So our next step is going to be to probably divide into some smaller teams and to work on some specific initiatives to try and implement some of those goals. And we'll be meeting later this week to start that process.
Thank you, Peter. And since Jonathan can't be with us today, I think Christy is going to give an update for the youth committee. Christy?
I am going to give an update for the youth committee and the work-based learning committee, if that's okay with Beth. So we are in the midst of putting together an apprenticeship pep rally where everybody, if you're on this call, make sure you get your video in by October 29th to mark. But we have taken the letters of apprenticeship and we are going to ask different support agencies to film just a 2 to 3 minute little blurb on what apprenticeship means and why it's important in work-based learning and why it's important for business and the economy. So everybody has their letters and what they are responsible for. And, you know, we really feel like this will be a great way to put the message out. And you can even chop the letters up once we get the video made and even share those on Facebook or other ways. So we hope that everybody will like the apprenticeship pep rally as we give a shout out for the gold standard of work-based learning. Go team.
Thank you, Christy. And I know Mark has received his first video from Debbie at AB Tech, and he said it's amazing. I can't wait to watch it. And Christy, Nathan, and I are going to film ours. I think it's early next week. We're going to be a day late, but we'll get it done. So that concludes the Business Service Committee reports, Dr. Pallas.
Thank you, Barbara. At this time, I'm going to ask Nathan to discuss any specific things in terms of announcements.
Well, thank you, Dr. Pallas. And just want everyone to know our tentative date for our recognition luncheon, or what we traditionally held of our recognition luncheon, will be December the 7th. We wanted to have some discussion. Our initial thought is, and you know, probably that would be a Zoom call, but if there's a great desire to have some in-person event as well, we can coordinate that. So just please send us your feedback on how you want us to organize this. As you recall, this is our meeting of the year where we recognize our outstanding employers, our outstanding participants, youth, and our many partners throughout the region. There are some announcements in your board packet. Would like you to be aware of those. In the director's report, I just want y'all to note we are making an application for the U.S. Department of Commerce EDA Good Jobs Challenge. We have support from Dogwood Health Trust to help us do that on behalf of our 4-county region, and we're in the initial stages of that. So I'm sure we'll be reaching out to many of you about trying to help us with that effort to help increase career opportunities and better improve our pathways in our region. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back over to you. Just again, want to give a shout out to our workforce staff for all the work they have done, and our board members for your leadership in our region.
Thank you, Nathan. Yes, we've had quite a packed meeting today, and I think we should congratulate everybody who was able to make the presentation. Certainly Barbara and the staff at the Workforce Board, all the members of the committees, just all the different presentations that we've had. I think there was, you know, quite a good meeting, quite a lot of good information that was shared. Do we have anything from any of the board members before we make a motion for adjournment? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Brian Weaver.
We have a motion from Brian. Do we have a second?
So seconded, Steve Newman.
Steve Newman seconds. Any opposition? Hearing none, I am assuming everybody is in favor, and I declare this meeting adjourned, and thank everybody for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.